What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to talk about what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what the news is saying about Tesla, why Tesla's looking relatively good in the pre-market, in my opinion, as we have a bullish structure developing, and why the market may make an attempt to pop before chopping a little bit as we approach the rate hike decision and the FOMC meeting. And there's going to be even more volatility once we get all the data and the speech from Jerome Powell. So I'm going to break down how this could affect the markets, some very important things to be watching for, and what's going on with all these different charts as we have some big news that just came out. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. This offer ends in just about 7 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. Tesla has a very nice looking bullish wedge developing, which is going to help it make a potential breakout very soon. It's looking a lot stronger. SPY is starting to push up as well, and the market's starting to show signs of strength this morning. Now, that's exactly what I told you would happen yesterday as the market would try to open today. And the market is once again looking a little bit strong to get that little pop. But I just want to warn you all that even though the market is trying to hold up, we have some big pieces of data coming out that could affect how that ends up occurring. So I do believe the market's going to try to pop as we open, right? We're going to try to hold up quite nicely. There's going to be a very, very nice pop. And then the market may become very sideways and very choppy after either the first 30 minutes or the first hour, because we have the rate hike decision coming out at 2 o'clock p.m. And typically after the first hour, as we're approaching the rate hike decision, the market turns very choppy, very sideways. So I want to warn you about that. It may become very boring after the first hour or so. But once the rate hike decision comes out at 2 p.m., expect some high volatility. There's a very, very high probability that the Fed is going to not raise during this meeting. And I think that that's going to be the case, which could cause more positive volatility. And then on top of that, don't forget that the rate hike decision is one event. And then at 2:30 p.m., we have another event known as the press conference when Jerome Powell is going to be speaking. So there are two things coming out. When Powell gives his speech, that's going to cause even more volatility. Make sure you're prepared for this nonetheless. When it comes to 5 things to know about the market, I just want to mention that we have the Fed day so far. We're going to see some interesting volatility thanks to the Fed, and futures are looking kind of flat, a little bit up, if anything, like right now. Instacart had its IPO and they did relatively well, up like 40% over the initial public offering. That's very, very good for them. And congratulations to anyone that was playing Instacart. There are also other companies as well. Disney's doubling down on its parks, which is very, very great for them. Their park business is once again a killer for them. And I just see this continuing to grow as time goes on. Not to mention the fact that even though this company has been prioritizing, quantity over quality when it comes to movies, if anything, what I will say is that the business model still gives them a lot of control, and getting in the streaming industry was a good move by them. And I still think that there's a bright future nonetheless. Besides that, I think that's pretty much it when it comes to like big news for the markets. The Fed day is like the biggest factor, anyways. When it comes to Tesla, we have some good news. Cathie Wood said that the biggest AI opportunity in the world is Tesla. She's very bullish on the company. She was talking about the robo-taxi. The autonomous taxi market is going to be a big winner, in her opinion, for the future. And she believes it's going to be very, very important and very, very secure for the future. She also mentioned that it's going to be a massive multi-trillion-dollar business. It's going to dominate the space. And she also said that she's very bullish. She reiterated that she has a forecast of $2,000 a share by 2027. That's over 650% upside from Tuesday's closing price. That is crazy upside over the next few years. And I wouldn't necessarily rule this out. I think it's very possible, and you should not rule out Cathie Wood either. Elon Musk also said similar things. He mentioned that it could go to many thousands a share by 2030 or even before that. And he agreed with Cathie Wood. He said that her prediction may be accurate in the past. So we'll see how this goes as years go on. But I do believe Cathie Wood has some very good points. Now, there's this news coming out that Toyota issues a major threat to Tesla's EV supremacy. I don't necessarily agree that we should look at it this way, but they're basically saying that with Toyota's new vehicles coming out, their first hybrids are on the market, not to mention the fact that they have their EVs coming out, they're going to be a big killer in this space. It's going to have a big effect on Tesla. And my honest view is, to some extent, yes, it's going to lead to more competition, but it's not the end of the world, and here's why. Okay, I expect Tesla's market share in the EV space to decrease over time. I think that Tesla's not going to be the have such a huge share in the entire business as years pass by, because more and more competitors will keep on entering, and these competitors could combine and continue to get more and more cars out there. So that means that even though Tesla's market share may decrease, it's just that the entire EV sector is going to continue to grow. And it doesn't really matter as much. I don't think that that's the biggest factor. I think the bigger factor is by how many cars is Tesla going to continue to grow, and can they meet their goals? That's what matters so much more. Because imagine the entire EV market goes from, like, I don't know, just hypothetically, from about 50 million vehicles to like 100 million over years and years and years. There's no guarantee Tesla's going to hold, like, 50% of that share as years go by. No guarantee. But Tesla could still be growing like crazy despite that share kind of like decreasing over time, because the whole sector is growing by so much. So that's the reason why I feel like, yes, with Toyota coming out, yes, it's going to add to competition, but it's not anything that we should become too scared about. Nothing that scares me, because I know Tesla has a very strong brand loyalty, and I still believe they're going to kill it. So, anyways, now let's talk about the charts. I know I was going on a rant about that. Looking at Tesla, it looks good right now. It looks bullish. It looks like we have a bullish wedge developing, and on the 4-hour time frame, it looks like Tesla's trying to curl, is trying to creep upwards. This looks like it's forming a very nice looking accumulation structure. And then you could also add that on the 30 minutes time frame, we have a potential inverse head and shoulders developing on it. So it's looking more bullish overall. And we're going to be watching Tesla push towards, as long as we hold above this 200 EMA, I see it heading towards this 270 area, maybe even a little bit higher than that. It really depends on if you could hold above 270. I wouldn't rule out 272.5 or so, but let's first look at 270. I think there's upside coming, and I think Tesla's going to pop as we open, try to push up towards these higher levels. But after the first 30 minutes to 1 hour, we might start shopping and trading sideways for a bit, because that's what typically happens as we approach the Fed rate hike decision. So there could be a pop and some shop. And then once the decision comes out, as there's like a more than a 99% chance, according to the Fed Watch tool, that the Fed is going to skip on the rate hike, we might see another pop in Tesla once the decision comes out at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And then after that, at 2:30 p.m., we have Jerome Powell's speech. Now, I don't know what Powell is going to cause, so that's the part where it becomes a little capricious. But for now, that's what I see happening. So watch for a pop as we open. We were talking about this yesterday. Tesla getting very close to 270, if not breaking it. Then we may shop around a little bit, trade kind of sideways after the first hour or 30 minutes are done with the market open. And then as we approach the rate hike decision at 2 p.m., that's when Tesla may make a big move with the market, another pop. Then it could cool off a tiny bit. Then it comes Jerome Powell's speech, which could cause even more volatility. So I'm seeing a lot of pops for today. When it comes to SPY, this thing is looking bullish. It's trying to push towards this overall resistance zone around this 444.5 area. If it breaks, it's going to head towards 445, which is where our 200 EMA happens to be. We have a potential inverse head and shoulders as well developing on it, and we're going to be watching to see if this could try to get above its 200 EMA at this 445 area right here. So we're going to be watching this very carefully. It looks like it's going to try to attempt to push up. It may start shopping after the first 30 minutes to 1 hour, just trading sideways for a bit. And then the rate hike decision comes out at 2 p.m., which is when we should get another pop. And after that, it all goes down to Jerome Powell. Same thing with Apple. Apple is trying to hold up. I do believe it should have gone very close to like this 180 area. It already came pretty close to it. So we could see Apple push a little bit, get a little pop towards this 180 zone, then come back down, trade a little bit sideways, get another pop after the rate hike decision comes out. And then it all depends on Jerome Powell. So I still see Apple getting very close to 180 and potentially shopping around there. However, we're very close to it, and we do have a tendency of kind of like trading sideways, getting stuck in a range as we hit 180. So be a little careful on Apple, because it could become a little stationary. Looking at the QQQ, there's a potential inverse head and shoulders on the 30-minute time frame, and on the 4-hour time frame, we have a potential bullish cross on the PPO, which is turning a little bit more bullish overall. Now, what do I think is going to happen? It's very simple. I think this thing has the potential to push up higher. It's actually at resistance right now at this 371.5 zone. If we break that, we're going to be watching this thing push to the 372s. There's a good chance that's going to happen as it looks bullish. Now, it's going to try pushing as we open, right? It's going to push towards 372 possibly, but then we may start to trade sideways as we approach the rate hike decision. That's what tends to happen. And then after that, the decision leads to high volatility. So we could see this thing try to take off above 372 later on, but that's going to also depend on Jerome Powell. Nvidia is looking not like insanely strong, but it is a tiny bit green. We're going to be watching this thing push for 440 to 442. If that breaks, 444.75 is another possibility, which is where we have our 200 EMA. If we get above that, I can see 450, but for now, we're not going to worry about that until we get above the 200. Nvidia is trying to curl a little bit. We could be watching it head towards 442, so watch that very carefully. We do have a bullish divergence that developed during the pre-market, so there's a good chance of this thing trying to push up higher. And overall, I could see a little pop before this thing trades sideways for some time. So watch it pop towards 442 or so, trade sideways after that, and then we're going to see another reaction after the rate hike decision comes out. So that's what I'm seeing for Nvidia. Besides that, we're going to be watching the dollar. Dollar is looking very flat. It's not really giving us much information, but it's starting to drop a little bit. As of right now, it's kind of flat, though, at least over the last hour and a half. So it's not really doing much, which is still decent for the markets. It doesn't have to do anything for us to make a big move. The VIX is starting to drop. It's hitting this support at the 50 EMA. The 30 minutes looking weak on it. The 4-hour time frame is also looking weak on the VIX. It's starting to weaken as we're hitting this resistance, and we could start cooling off a bit. So, in my opinion, if the VIX does end up breaking below this 50 EMA at this 14 level or very close to that, if we break this and the VIX starts sinking, that could be because of the market potentially pushing upwards. So we're going to be watching that. Does the VIX hold this level, or does the VIX start sinking? If it sinks, there could be another nice pop coming. Anyways, Meta is also on the move. We were talking about Meta trying to bounce. We can see this thing has another wedge developing. We're going to be watching 307 very soon. Looks more bullish overall. The structure looks quite bullish. This could be heading towards 310 as well, but I just want to note that with the FOMC meeting and etc., be a little careful with this. It could pop quite a bit, but there's also going to be some sideways price action later on after the pop comes, approaching the big rate hike decision, and then after that, it all depends on Jerome Powell. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful for everyone. That's what I'm seeing for the market for now. Tesla's looking quite nice. Let's see Tesla try to break out, at least temporarily. And with that said, enjoy what's about to come and get ready for some crazy volatility, as the Fed is going to cause some interesting moves, in my opinion. All right, so thank you for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys very, very soon in the next video. Thank you. Tesla's to the moon because the long term is very bright, and peace out.